Everywhere you walk, everywhere you turn, everywhere you go, people are always surrounding you. It's like you are living in a sea of people. Each group of friends or closely related people is like a school of fish. One school of fish that I am familiar with is the hospital. In the hospital, there are different floors that separate these so-called fish into even smaller groups. One floor I know very well is the oncology floor. There are children and adults every day that are diagnosed with cancer. You can't help but feel bad or sorry for the families that have to deal with such a life-threatening disease. But when it's your family, it feels like the end of the world. When you have cancer, you think, why me? Why was I picked out of everyone on earth? When it's a family member that gets cancer, you think, why couldn't it be me who had to suffer instead? Why were they picked, not someone else? I believe cancer brings hardship. Every other summer, back when I was a little girl, I used to visit my family in Michigan, mainly my grandma. Everything seemed to go just as planned. We would go camping with our grandma, play games, watch movies with her, and just about everything else imaginable. No one would ever think that our perfect grandma would ever get sick. No one would think that she was going to leave us soon. These thoughts never even crossed our minds. But one day, my dad got a call saying that my grandma, the best grandma in the world, was diagnosed with cancer. It seemed like the end of the world, our perfect little world where everything went all fine and dandy. Because of the fact that we lived in two separate states, my sister and I never got to visit my grandma while she was sick. We got phone calls every now and then telling us how she was feeling. I remember it like it was yesterday. My dad took my sisters and me to the department store to get new clothes. As soon as we drove into the parking lot, my dad received a call from my uncle. We were informed that my grandma had just breathed her last breath. Now it truly had to be the end of the world. I believe cancer is a hardship. Every year around October, children begin to look for costumes to wear for Halloween. My family had been delayed, for my sister had come down with a nasty flu, or so we thought. My mom took Amanda to the doctors, only to find out that they had no idea what was wrong. Next, Amanda was taken to the Phoenix Children's Hospital to see if they knew what was going on. They diagnosed my sister, the baby of the family, as to having cancer. They have fancy names for cancers that I can't even remember, but this name of her cancer will always stick with me. It was acute lymphoblastic leukemia. How can anyone watch their youngest sister sit in the hospital and find out that cancer was now in her body? Everyone in my family was devastated. We had just become okay with the fact that Grandma was now out of the picture. But now Amanda? How could this be? For 2 years we watched her go on a roller coaster. The chemotherapy gave Amanda both ups and downs, but one day she would be as happy as can be. But the next you would make sure not to go near her, or else she would make you miserable. Finally, the time came when Amanda was free of all leukemia cells in her body, but now she would be in remission. Amanda finally got her port, which is a little device put into your heart for the IV needle to go in, taken out. Now she would be able to do sports like normal kids get to do without having to worry about her health. Everything is now better for her. I believe cancer makes you stronger. I believe that cancer teaches everyone that if you look forward and times are rough, then it's not the end. For in the end, everything turns out for the better. No one wants your family member to die, but in reality, you just have to think that they were in so much pain that it was better this way. When dealing with cancer, no one can think of themselves. Everyone has to think of what's better for the patient. I believe cancer brings suffering, but it also brings bravery and courage.